Hello gods and goddesses, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today we are doing my July wrap-up. If you saw my June wrap-up, this is going to be even more of a mess, but at least it'll be on time. Even early, in fact. So, the Booktuber Award of the year should, yes, indeed go to me. Thank you for agreeing with me. I don't know how many books I read. I don't know what the star ratings of them. You're gonna learn at the end of this video. So do you even need me to tell you in the beginning? That's a spoiler. And we all know on BookTube, we just don't like spoilers in this house. So you're welcome. Again, mail me my award. Thank you. My channel has just been going downhill, huh? Right when I hit 1K. Y'all really missed out on the prime peak content. We're gonna get into the books I read in July. I actually read some pretty damn good books. So I am excited to talk about them even though I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm saying. The first book I read in July was Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. I gave Daughter of the Pirate King 4 out of 5 stars. Daughter of the Pirate King I would describe as just good, classic, entertaining YA. It follows our main character, Alosa, and she is the daughter of a pirate king. She has been tasked by her father to look for this hidden piece of a map, or this hidden map to find this hidden isle, think Treasure Island, where there's a bunch of treasure. You know the likes of what pirates, their only personality trait is treasure and greed and not brushing their teeth. So, or showering in general, really. Why am I attracted to pirates so much? Lord knows. We follow Alosa as she gets captured onto this ship, which is supposedly where this map is hidden. So she's on there doing her sneaky sneak at night trying to look for this map. Meanwhile, of course, she is having a smart-ass love interest. He tried to be slick with having a edgy white boy name, and I don't even remember it. So there truly isn't anything more I like than sarcastic banter, witty pirates, and this book just gave it to me. Did it revolutionize the genre of literature? No. Is literature even a genre? I don't even know what I'm saying right now. It didn't revolutionize anything, bottom line, but it was a really fun, quick, entertaining read. Alosa is probably one of the most badass, smartest main characters I have ever read about, and I think she is incredibly underrated. The way that you follow the story and kind of see all like the tricks and manipulations that she doesn't really tell the reader what her plan is, but so you only see like her as she's doing it and like the follow through of it. And it was just, she's just a smart ass bitch, and I loved her, and I think she is incredibly underrated, and I think this book is just really underrated. I am really excited again to continue with this, and I think more people should read it. It was just real fun, and I enjoyed myself. The next book I read was Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I talked about this in my Pacific Northwest haul, which I will link up there if you haven't seen that. But basically, Emergency Contact follows our two main characters, Penny and Sam, as they become each other's emergency contact after Penny runs into Sam in the midst of a panic attack. So she kind of takes care of him, takes him home, all that jazz. So after that, they kind of just text each other all the time. It's a daily occurrence. They just text each other and they build this friendship via text messages, and it's just a really, really great, realistic, like the most realistic romance I have ever read about, for sure. And as well as, not only is their relationship really realistic, but they themselves are very realistic. They're both very cynical, very like pessimistic about life, and they just don't sugarcoat things. They know that life sucks, and they know that it's not really a fun time, but they make the most of it by complaining about life together. Penny especially, she is just a really judgmental bitch, but she's not judgmental in, I just said she's a real judgmental bitch, and I'm about to say she's not judgmental in a bitchy way. She's just super judgmental of the world, but not in a bitchy way. She judges people, but it's not necessarily attacking them. It's just that she just hates everything and everyone, and I have never related to a person more in a book, and it's just really great. There's a lot of discussions about family and mental health and expectations and all that stuff. It's really good, and I know a lot of people, this has gotten a lot of mixed reviews on BookTube in the book community, but I personally think if you are a cynical person or a pessimistic kind of person, or maybe even like a romantic perhaps, or just have a really realistic view of life, aka you're not a water sign, I think you would really love this, even though that's counterproductive because Monty is a Cancer and he actually put me onto this book. But you know what? I stand by what I said. Monty is an enigma, and I think he loves being that. Like I said, if you're like a super optimistic person, maybe you wouldn't like this. They are kind of unlikable characters, so it is hard to really appreciate them. But again, me as a cynical ass bitch, I loved them from the start, and so I highly recommend this read. It's just, I can't hype this enough. They have become my favorite YA couple of all time, above Rose and Dimitri. And if that doesn't show you my love for this book, I really don't know what will. The next book I read was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This was a reread for me. I am rereading all of the Mortal Instruments, or all of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, so I can read The Dark Artifices, which I have not read yet. And this is obviously the first book. Let me tell you how shocked I was by how much I enjoyed this. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Y'all really bamboozled me into thinking this was bad. I genuinely thought I was going to have to trudge through this. I thought this was going to be such a difficult read to get through, but it wasn't. This was so much fun. I had so much fun with this. Similarly to what I said about Daughter of the Pirate King, this is just YA at its finest. You can't go into this expecting a lot. It's not quality literature that is like uphold on a standard. Like, no, it's just classic YA that is just super entertaining, super easy to get through. I flew through this book. It was just such an enjoyable read. Cassandra Clare, this is a perfect debut too. Like, the fact that this is a debut, some YA authors, their debut, Throne of Glass, garbage. Cassandra Clare is so good at writing characters, dialogue, plot, action scenes, atmosphere. She just knows what she's doing, and I commend her for that. I really want to personally apologize to Cassandra Clare for giving her so much shit, because I really thought this was gonna suck. I didn't even mind Jason Clary in this book, and we all know how much I despise them with my whole heart and soul. It's because they're not together in this book. That's why I didn't despise them. But regardless, I just really enjoyed this. The only thing that I didn't really like was the rat plot. That could have been left in the fanfiction websites, but it was really good. Really enjoyed this. The world in here is just great. The lore, the world building that she does is just awesome, and I know it even gets more intricate as we go along. I know I'm talking with my hands a lot, but I just got new nails and I just feel like that bitch, and I just want to do this to everything and everyone. I'm excited to see what the rest of my thoughts on the series is, because I genuinely thought that these books were gonna suck. I thought the Mortal Instruments was gonna be really bad, but at least so far with City of Bones, I'm having a grand old time with this. The next book I read was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Y'all, I might have just become a Leigh Bardugo stan. This was so good. Y'all are so mean to this series. I mean, granted, again, only read the first book, but I am reading Siege and Storm right now, and again, it's not as bad as y'all are making it out to be. I'm only on like chapter 8 of that, but still. Oh, I didn't give a synopsis of City of Bones, but you know, y'all can go to a different channel for that. I'm sure you guys know what City of Bones is about. Shadow and Bone, I'm also sure you know what this is about. This is about Alina, and she discovers that she is a Grisha and these Grisha are like these magical beings in this world. And she discovers that she's like this super powerful Grisha, and it's just her going about discovering her power and being taken advantage of by a Darkling. Yes, I am a Darkling stan. Thank you for noticing. I think he's an iconic bitch. Same as the other YA books I've been talking about. It's just classic YA that's just super entertaining. It's not really anything to analyze. It's not like this crazy special detailed thing that you just need to analyze every page and pick apart. It's just entertainment. And you know what? When you are just stressed and going through it, you just want something entertaining that you can just fly through and enjoy the ride. And that's what Shadow and Bone is. It was just really good. And also, I love Alina. Y'all are so mean to Alina, and I don't get it. Like, yes, she's very insecure. It's very annoying. I totally understand. She definitely is super insecure. But guess what? Honey, come here. She's a teenager. I know that's hard for you guys to see in a YA character, but she's a teenager. And I don't know about y'all. Teenage me was super insecure. And she's a smartass, and I love a smartass bitch. That is the weight of my heart, is just for you to just be a smartass and talk back to me. That is how you fall into my favorite characters list. And she is on her way there. I just love her. And her power is, as a Leo, I can appreciate the power of the sun, and she gives that to me. Mal can choke. If you are a Mal stan, I'm gonna need you to unsubscribe right now. Or if you don't unsubscribe, you need to reread the book. Alina literally became anorexic with her pining after him, and he didn't even like her until she started to eat. Facts are facts, ladies and gentlemen. It's literally on the page. The fact that y'all can stand him, I could never. She writes banter so well. Like, no wonder y'all love these dumbass characters, because she really does a great job at like interactions and dialogue and all that stuff. The real crime of this trilogy is that Alina and Genya are endgame, because Alina is the most gay for Genya. I gave Shadow and Bone 4 to 5 stars, by the way. The next thing I read, Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trisha Mateer. This is an arc of a poetry collection that comes out on October 19th. And my friend Carrie from Carrie the Book Bell got me this at BookCon, and she even got me she even got it personalized for me. It's got my name and then the signature, and it's so cute. This is a poetry collection following our narrator, as she has had a really tough time with love in her life. She has gone through abuse, both physically and emotionally, by her mother as well as her partners in the past. And she is in her apartment, and Aphrodite shows up, and the narrator's basically like, hey girl, I'm not looking for love. And Aphrodite's like, funny, then why am I here? Like the bad bitch she is. I really can't describe how good this was. I mean, granted, you guys have to take into account that anything involving Aphrodite is going to hit me harder than like probably an average person. This unpacks Aphrodite as a goddess. It empowers her in a way that I've never read about before, that I have always wanted, because everybody always dismisses her and underestimates her as if love isn't the most powerful force in the universe. Not to get all Cancer rising on y'all asses. And it also unpacks a lot about self-love, especially involving queerness. If you are queer and you can handle the triggering content in this book, I truly cannot recommend this enough. I think it was so beautifully done. It really just validates queerness in the world that doesn't really accept queerness 100%. It was really so good. It talks about forgiveness and self-love and love and being happy and accepting yourself, and it's just so good. Some of these lines, I've never been shooketh harder in my life. I can't recommend this enough. Please pick this up. I will maybe do a Judge a Book by its cover on it. I have never done a Judge a Book by its cover on like a poetry collection. Let me know if you guys want like a really in-depth review. I don't know how in-depth I can get with a poetry collection, but I really do want to push this really hard when it comes out. So it's a little while. You guys do have to wait a little while, but don't worry. I will revisit this in the month of October so you guys can have a fresh mind on remember to add this to your carts. 5 out of 5 stars, by the way, if you didn't understand that. Now the next book I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be talking about for the remainder of my channel, as if I haven't been talking about it since the start of my channel, since I read it. House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin E. Craig. If you're new here, hello. This is my favorite new release of the year and second favorite book of all time. Nice to meet you. Glad we are acquainted. House of Salt and Sorrows, I can say this in my sleep by now. House of Salt and Sorrows is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling following our main character, who is the middle child, as she is trying to uncover the mystery of her sister's deaths. Because going into this book, 4 of the 12 sisters have died. The 4th death is the most recent one. We open at her funeral, and there's some suspicious things going on. There's also this plot of them finding this magical door to go to these magical balls. This is a horror YA gothic Victorian fantasy. It is a standalone fantasy, which y'all know is also my jam. Got a lot of tones about hauntings, ghosts, horror, like I said. There is also a big mythology portion of this book, which of course I loved so deeply. This was 5 out of 5 stars. I loved this reread even more than the first time I read it, and I want to reread it again and again and again and again and again. I adored this with my whole heart and soul. The author, Erin, is literally the sweetest human being ever, and you guys really do need to support her, support this book. I want this to be the new hyped book on BookTube. Let my dream come true. It's Leo season. Pick this up. It comes out August 6th. I cannot recommend this enough. If you want a dark, gritty, mystery, YA, thriller, fantasy that has literally everything you could want and more, read it. Pre-order it, and if you're not convinced enough, I have a vlog and a review coming up in the first week of August. So I will give you all the content it requires for you to buy this book and read it. It is so good. The next book I read was Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This is a short story written in verse, and we are following our main character after the death of his brother, who was murdered, and he is going on an elevator ride down to kill his killer. And on his elevator ride down, at each level he is confronted by a person from his past, and it's just about the circle of violence and grief. I don't have a rating for this because 1, it was really short, and 2, it's kind of a memoir in a way. So I just didn't feel right rating this book, but I highly recommend you guys listen to it. Like I said, it's a really quick audiobook. It's really good it's really quick to get through, and it's a really impactful, powerful story, and I just highly recommend it. The next book I read was Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Mayan mythology retelling set in 1920s Mexico, and we are following our main character as she accidentally frees the Lord of the Dead from captivity, and we are following their journey as he is trying to collect the rest of his body parts because his brother tricked him into captivity in order to take over the realm of Xibalba. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. It was really disappointing, actually. This was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and it didn't hit the mark it needed to. I actually started this in March, but I had to put it down because I just couldn't get into it. Sylvia's writing just didn't connect with me. The way she describes things was good, and like her descriptions of the mythology and telling you the mythology of things and the setting of things was great, but the way she wrote her characters didn't allow me to connect with the characters and thus become invested in the story. So objectively, I think she's a good writer, but when she gets into the characters and like creating emotions, I think that's where she lacks. So because of that, I couldn't, again, connect to the story, I couldn't connect to the characters, I couldn't become invested in the story, and thus didn't enjoy it as much. I can appreciate the book itself, especially being a diverse mythology. Love that. I loved the setting of 1920s Mexico. Never seen that in any media format ever, so that was really fun. I loved the talk about class distinctions, feminism, imperialism, all that stuff. Loved that, but I think it just didn't connect to me in the way I wanted it and needed it to. So unfortunately, that's what it is, but I still think people should check it out if you are interested in Mayan mythology. I think it was really interesting to learn about at least that aspect, and maybe you would enjoy it and connect to the characters more than I did. So I still do recommend this book. I personally don't want somebody to recommend me a 3-star read, but in this case, this is a higher 3-star read where I do recommend it to people, and I do think it's worth giving a chance. If you were intrigued by this, I do recommend still picking it up, and hopefully you would enjoy it more than I would. Now, the last book I read in July was Bad Girls Throughout History by Anne Shed. This is a compilation of short little biographies of 100 remarkable women and their journey to success and the obstacles they had to face and what they did to make their mark throughout history. This was really fun. They have the art style in this is stunning, and the biographies are really short and sweet. I read this in like 2 days, so it was really fun to learn about everybody. My only criticism with this is there are quite a lot of Western women in this, especially American history. Not necessarily in the fact that there are only white people in this, but just that there is a lot of Western women living in the West wise. I really liked this. I thought it was really quick and sweet. I learned a whole lot about women I didn't know even existed, and I thought this was really fun, and I highly recommend this. Alright you guys, so that is the end of this video. Let me know down below what was your favorite and least favorite book in the month of July, and let me know if you read any of the books on this list today. I know this was a mess. I am aware. I don't care. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even despite the mess it was, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!